is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 6:15. Here is the news edited by Anjanadu Damgoda, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. New high-tech digital driving license to be introduced in Sri Lanka. State Minister of Finance says the priority will be given to government employees' salaries and pensions. UMP and SLBC will contest the upcoming LG polls in one alliance. Sri Lanka Army had arrested 981 illegal drug traffickers during the year 2022. Foreign news, California city orders evacuation as U.S. faces continued storms. Local news in detail. The Cabinet spokesperson, Minister Bandula Gunawardena, says that the Cabinet of Ministers has given the approval to introduce the digital driving license in Sri Lanka. Addressing the media briefing, he stated that a driving license containing a QR code would be introduced in the future instead of the one with the microprocessor chip. The lawmaker had submitted the proposal to the Cabinet of Ministers in his capacity as the Minister of Transport and Highways. The Cabinet of Ministers has given instructions to conduct an in-depth study into the matter and to inform relevant technical and expert committees in this regard. Speaking further, Minister Gunawardena said the government expects to resolve the shortage of materials to print driving license, which was exacerbated by the forex crisis within this year. The Minister of State for Finance, Jehan Singh, issued an announcement at the Ministry of Finance today saying that priority will be given to government employees' salaries, pensions and welfare allowances in government revenue and expenditure management. Although the country's economy has been at a somewhat stable level through the current economic crisis, we have to admit that it is not yet possible to get out of this crisis completely. The full program required for that is currently underway in the government's revenue and expenditure management. Payments are made from the Treasury for essential priorities. There should be no unnecessary fear about this, the Minister of State for Finance further stated. Also, an orderly and efficient arrangement to settle the bills due from the government for certain projects is currently under discussion with the relevant ministries. The army, which eradicated terrorism in the country, is now in task to combat drug trafficking. The army initiated a special program to combat narcotics in Sri Lanka during the last year and was able to seize 981 suspects island-wide. Accordingly, the army could apprehend more than 715 kilos of Kerala cannabis, 685 kilos of local cannabis, 1 kilo of heroin and 13 kilos of crystal methamphetamine, popularly known as ice, during random snap search operations conducted by the soldiers in the battalion levels belonging to island-wide security forces headquarters. In addition to that, a considerable amount of kush and hashish drugs have also been seized along with 831 suspects. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sudhana from People's Bank. Give your child the strength to succeed.
Continuing with more local news, the public services of the Merchant Marine Secretariat, which is operated under the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Aviation, have been temporarily halted. In a statement, the Merchant Marine Secretariat mentioned that the service provided by the office will be suspended until January 12th, starting from today. Accordingly, all clients of the Merchant Marine Secretariat are informed not to visit the office to obtain services during this period. However, the online services provided by the office will continue as usual, the statement added. The decision to temporarily hold the services provided by the Merchant Marine Secretariat has been taken since the office is being moved to another building from the current establishment due to an urgent need. The Colombo's court today rejected the petition filed by Adarsha Karandana requesting the court to release her on an anticipatory bail. On 3rd January, Karandana, who was recently in the spotlight after releasing an alleged video of her estranged partner, former presidential advisor Ashu Kumar Singh, sexually abusing her pet dog, filed a petition with the Colombo Magistrates Court requesting that she be released on anticipatory bail on account that the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, is preparing to arrest her. That ends local news.
From the very first day at school, teach your child the lesson of saving. Open a Sisudana account with People's Bank. Higher interest with more gifts and benefits.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has raised concerns that the electricity tariff revision, which was approved by the Cabinet, cannot be implemented retrospectively. Speaking on the cost-reflective electricity traffic revision scheme that was approved by the Cabinet yesterday, effective from 1st of January 2023, Ratnayaka noted that the tariff cannot be implemented with retrospective effect, as per the relevant act. He further noted that although the PUCSL has no issue with having been given till 15th February to review the said tariff revision, it was submitted to them only yesterday, explaining that it takes roughly 45 to 50 days for the usual procedures in this regard to take its course. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved power cuts of 2 hours and 20 minutes for tomorrow. Accordingly, the power cuts will be imposed as follows. Groups A to L and P to W, 1 hour during daytime and 1 hour and 20 minutes during night. That ends Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
World News headlines first. California city orders evacuation as U.S. faces continued storms. At least 17 dead in anti-government protest in southern Peru. New XBB.1.5 COVID subvariant most transmissible, WHO says. World News in detail. Officials in Santa Barbara County, California have issued an immediate evacuation order for the waterlogged city of Montecito, as torrential rains and high winds continue to batter the west coast of the United States. Nearly 10,000 people are said to be displaced in and around the wealthy coastal enclave, nestled between the Pacific Ocean and the surrounding hilly areas. At least 17 people have been killed in clashes in southern Peru after protests demanding early elections and the release of jailed former President Pedro Castillo resumed. The dead in the city of Juliaca, where the protesters were attempting to take control of the airport, including 2 teenagers, the country's Human Rights Office said on Monday. Another person was also reported killed in the nearby city of Chikusito, where the protesters blocked the highway, according to the Associated Press news agency. The World Health Organization is warning that a new Micron subvariant known as the XBB.1.5 is the most transmissible strain to date. We are concerned about XBB.1.5's growth advantage in Europe and the US, Netherlands and Maria Van Kerkhove, the World Health Organization's COVID-19 technical lead, at a press conference said. XBB.1.5 had rapidly replaced other circulating variants in those areas, she added. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. California City orders evacuations as U.S. forces continued storms. At least 17 dead in anti-government protest in southern Peru. New XBB.1.5 COVID subvariant most transmissible, WHO says. That ends world news.
Development news.
The Urban Development and Housing Ministry has decided to develop the city of Kadawata as a multi-modal transport hub, which will be a key component to connect all major public transport modes, including 3 major expressways of southern Katunaika and central Urban Development and Housing Ministry Prasanna Ranatunga yesterday instructed the relevant officers to take the necessary steps to commission the Kadawata multimodal transport hub soon, which has been completed under the project. All the expressways built in the country so far connect to each other in Kadawata city. Therefore, passengers will be able to travel to different parts of the island using this multimodal transport hub. The government has so far spent 377 million rupees for the construction of this multimodal transport center. The construction work has started in 2019 and the hub will shortly be commissioned. It has been built on land belonging to the Urban Development Authority. That ends development news. Moving on to sports news, cricket. Retired Judge Kusala Sarojini Veeravardhana, chairperson of the committee appointed to inquire into Sri Lanka cricket team's participation in the ICC T20 World Cup and related incidents, handed over the report to Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe today. That ends sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
One Goldface Tower is pleased to welcome Alliance Lanka as its largest tenant. Following a rigorous selections process, Alliance Lanka will be relocated and consolidating its extensive Sri Lankan operations and presence to the state-of-the-art One Goldface Tower. With the economic activity centered around the Colombo business district, world-renowned corporates are actively seeking premium office spaces to cater to their distinguished clientele and actively engage their pool of highly qualified professionals. Inaugurated in 2019, One Goldface comprises approximately 531,000 square feet of luxury grade A office space spread over 32 floors. OGFT is the only ready-to-move in Grade A office building in Colombo built to Green Mark Gold standards and offers landlord-operated flexible office options and meeting facilities specially for its tenants. That ends business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න කියන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Economic news, courtesy of
LONC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LONC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
Hambantota International Port roll-over numbers, which is expected to increase rapidly this year, was endorsed by NYK's vessel MV Hermes Leader, which arrived at the port this week with new volumes. A total of 1,156 units which came from India will be transshipped to South Africa, Jordan, Sudan and Tanzania. The main shipping lines operating from Hambantota port in the roll-on roll-off business includes Hyundai Glovis, K-Line, MOL, NYK Line, Eastern Car Lines, Hoeg Autoliners and Gold Star Line. In the year 2022, HIP handled a total volume of 558,188 units through 249 vessel calls. That ends economic news.
LONC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LONC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LONC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
weather report.
Mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. The weather forecast was published at 12 noon in official website of the Department of Meteorology. That ends the weather report. To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. New high-tech digital driving license to be introduced in Sri Lanka. State Minister of Finance says the priority will be given to government employees' salaries and pensions. UMP and SLBC will contest the upcoming LG polls in one alliance. Sri Lanka Army had arrested 981 illegal drug traffickers during the year 2022. Foreign news, California city orders evacuation as U.S. faces continued storms. With that, we wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka.